In the vast nothingness before time, there existed no stars, no planets, no light, only an endless void where space and time were indistinguishable. In this boundless expanse of darkness, the universe slumbered, waiting for the spark that would awaken it. There was, however, a single constant, a force neither seen nor understood by the few beings that would later emerge from the cosmic currents. This force was the primordial ooze, the formless, timeless essence of creation, destruction, and transformation. The primordial ooze was no mere substance. It pulsed with an ancient, ineffable power, a cosmic energy that existed in perfect tension between the opposing forces of life and death. Within it resided every possibility, every form of life that could be created, and every structure that could be dismantled. It was the building block of existence, but it was also its undoing. From it, entire galaxies could be born, only to collapse again into dust. The universe had not yet found its rhythm, but in the heart of the void, the ooze simmered, waiting for the moment when it would be called forth to shape reality. And deep within the primordial darkness, an ancient force began to stir, the Tikar, the guardians of the cosmic balance. These beings had existed long before the first light of the stars, before the very concept of time had meaning. They were ancient, serpentine entities whose forms shimmered with the colors of the universe itself, each scale reflecting the endless expanse of creation. The Tikar were not gods, though they were often mistaken for such. They were not creators, nor were they destroyers. They were keepers of balance, the eternal watchers of the great cosmic dance. At the center of this great emptiness lay the nexus of Icthala, an incomprehensible focal point where the energies of the universe converged. It was a place where the boundaries between dimensions blurred, where time folded in on itself, and where the forces of creation and destruction swirled together in an eternal spiral. Within the nexus, floating in the vast expanse, was the center of harmony, a radiant sphere of energy that acted as the universe's guiding star, directing the flow of the primordial ooze. Nisara, the eldest of the Tikar, coiled herself around the center of harmony. Her long, serpentine body glowed with a deep violet light, and her scales shimmered like the stars that had yet to be born. She had felt it, the subtle shifting of the cosmic tides. It was time once again for the great ritual, the ancient process by which the universe would be reshaped, and life would be given form. But this time, Nisara sensed that something was different. The ooze was restless. It pulsed with a force that felt older and wilder than ever before, and she knew that this ritual would not proceed as it always had. "The time has come," Nisara whispered, her voice vibrating through the void, resonating with the cosmic forces around her. Her kin, the other Tikar, heard her call, and they began to gather. From the farthest reaches of the universe, they came, their bodies long and sinewy, their eyes glowing with the light of the galaxies they had watched over for eons. As the Tikar assembled, Nisara began the ancient chant. Her voice, though soft, reverberated through the ether, setting the universe in motion. The primordial ooze responded to her call, rising from the depths of the nexus in swirling, chaotic waves. It was as though the ooze itself was alive, conscious in a way that transcended mortal understanding. It wanted to be shaped, to be given form, but it also resisted, as if it feared the order that would be imposed upon it. "We are the architects of balance," Nisara intoned, her voice rising above the chaotic waves of the ooze. "Through our alchemy, we guide the forces of creation and destruction. In this dance, we weave the fabric of existence." The Tikar formed a circle around Nisara, their serpentine bodies weaving through the void in intricate patterns. Each movement they made was part of a grand design, a dance that had been performed since the beginning of time. Their scales shimmered with the light of the cosmos, reflecting the primordial energies that flowed through the nexus. Together, they were the guardians of the delicate balance that held the universe together. Among the Tikar stood Drakfire, a being whose scales burned with the heat of 1,000 suns. His eyes, molten gold, flickered with the energy of creation, and his very presence seemed to ignite the void around him. He was the embodiment of the cosmic flame, the force of life that brought stars to life and ignited the spark of consciousness in the universe. Opposite him stood Veshwan, her scales pale as ice, shimmering with a soft blue glow. She was the guardian of stillness, the force of order and preservation. Where Drakfire was the fire of creation, Veshwan was the cold embrace of destruction, the force that brought an end to the stars and allowed the cycle to begin anew. Together, they represented the duality that defined the universe, the endless cycle of birth and death, creation and destruction. As the Tikar danced, the primordial ooze began to take shape. It coiled and twisted, responding to the will of the ancient serpents. From the chaotic mass, faint outlines began to emerge, stars, planets, galaxies, all forming in the void, drawn forth by the alchemy of the Tikar. "We are the balance," Drakfire spoke, his voice a deep rumble that echoed through the nexus. "Through our flame, we ignite the fires of life." "And through the cold," Veshwan added, her voice as soft as the falling snow, "we bring rest to all things." Their words were part of the ritual, a chant as old as time itself, passed down through the Tikar since the first stirrings of the universe. Together, they represented the cosmic balance, the harmony that allowed the universe to exist. The tides of the cosmos ebbed and flowed around them, guided by their movements, shaping the primordial ooze into the very fabric of existence. But even as they worked, Nisara felt the disturbance grow stronger. It was subtle at first, a faint ripple in the cosmic currents, but it soon became impossible to ignore. The ooze was shifting, moving in ways it had never done before. It was as though it had a will of its own, a force that resisted the careful shaping of the Tikar. "The ooze," Nisara whispered, her eyes narrowing. "It is different this time." The others felt it too. The primordial ooze, which had always been a neutral force, neither good nor evil, now pulsed with a strange energy. It was as if it contained within it the potential for something entirely new, something neither the Tikar nor the cosmos had ever seen before. The Tikar moved cautiously now, their once fluid dance becoming more deliberate, more controlled. They had always guided the primordial ooze with ease, shaping it into stars and worlds, breathing life into the universe with their ancient rituals. But now, the ooze seemed to resist their guidance, moving with a chaotic force that defied their will. Nisara focused her mind, reaching out to the core of the ooze, trying to understand the source of the disturbance. As her consciousness touched the depths of the primordial substance, she was met with a vision of stars being born and dying in rapid succession, of entire galaxies spinning out of control, only to collapse into nothingness. The vision was overwhelming, a rush of images and sensations that left her breathless. But through it all, one thing became clear: the primordial ooze was not just the essence of creation and destruction. It was also the essence of transformation, a force that could reshape the universe in ways even the Tikar had not foreseen. "The ooze is alive," Nisara whispered, her voice trembling with awe. "It holds within it the potential for more than we ever imagined. It is not just the substance of creation and destruction, it is the force of transformation." Her kin listened in silence, their eyes glowing with the light of distant stars. They, too, had sensed the shift in the cosmic forces, but they had not yet understood its full implications. Now, as Nisara spoke, they began to realize the truth: the universe was not static. It was not something to be preserved, to be maintained in perfect balance. It was alive, constantly shifting, constantly transforming. "We must adapt," Nisara declared, her voice growing stronger. "We are no longer just the guardians of balance. We are the agents of transformation. The cosmos is changing, and we must change with it." The realization that the primordial ooze was a force of transformation, not just creation and destruction, changed everything for the Tikar. Their ancient rituals, once performed with precision and control, now felt inadequate. The universe was no longer a static construct to be shaped and maintained. It was a living, breathing entity, constantly evolving, constantly shifting. The Tika had always been the alchemists of the cosmos, guiding the flow of energy and matter, ensuring the balance between creation and destruction. But now, they had a new role to play. They were no longer just the weavers of the cosmic fabric. They were the shapers of transformation, the agents of change who would guide the universe through its ever-evolving cycles. Nisara led the Tika in a new dance, one that embraced the chaos of the primordial ooze, rather than trying to control it. Their movements were no longer precise and measured. Instead, they flowed with the shifting tides of the cosmos, their serpentine bodies moving in harmony with the chaotic forces around them. As they danced, the ooze responded, swirling and coiling in intricate patterns, reshaping itself into new forms. Stars were born and died in rapid succession, galaxies spun into existence and collapsed again, but through it all, a new order began to emerge, one that embraced the chaos, one that allowed for infinite possibilities. In the heart of the nexus of Icthala, the Tika stood at the edge of a new cycle. The universe had been reshaped, not into a static, balanced system, but into something far more dynamic, an ever-changing, ever-evolving entity that would continue to transform for eternity. The primordial ooze, once a chaotic, formless mass, had become the essence of transformation itself. It was no longer just the building block of existence, it was the force that would drive the universe forward, constantly shifting, constantly evolving. Nisara gazed out at the vast expanse of the cosmos, her eyes glowing with the light of the stars. She knew that the universe would never again be the same. The Tika were no longer just the keepers of balance. They were the agents of change, the shapers of transformation, guiding the cosmos through its endless cycles of creation, destruction, and rebirth. The tides of the cosmos had shifted, and the universe was alive with the potential for infinite possibilities.